A genuinely clear, illuminated path always opens up before a determined student the exact moment he decides to overhaul his internal processing habits. This beautiful shift toward absolute fluency doesn't happen out in the crowded streets or in noisy, expensive lecture halls. Instead, it begins right inside the quiet laboratory of the human mind, completely hidden from the critical eyes of the outside world. It is a meticulous, step-by-step blueprint that completely re-engineers how a person's brain categorizes, stores, and deploys daily thoughts. By changing these deep-seated mental mechanisms, an ordinary individual can transform language learning from a stressful academic chore into a truly exhilarating journey of personal mastery. This brilliant first phase is entirely centered around reshaping the internal monologue, a profound psychological transformation that master educators fondly refer to as the solo shift. Wow, isn't it amazing to realize that a learner doesn't need to spend thousands of dollars on plane tickets or rely on fancy immersion schools just to start thinking like a native speaker? He simply needs to gently grab the steering wheel of his own inner voice and switch the tracks from his native language to English. It is a deeply liberating process where a person finally stops treating English as a cold, intimidating foreign subject and begins embracing it as a warm, living, breathing extension of his own daily existence. Level 1 of this internal revolution starts incredibly small, focusing intently on the simple yet profound act of labeling the physical world around oneself. Instead of looking at an object, pausing, and executing a clumsy, exhausting mental translation, a dedicated person learns to instantly attach the English word directly to the physical item. For instance, when an individual is sitting at his desk and his eyes fall upon a porcelain container filled with hot liquid, his mind should immediately trigger the crisp sound of the word mug without ever allowing the native word to sneak into his thoughts. This immediate connection cuts out the middleman entirely, training the mind to link sounds directly to physical reality. Well, when you first hear about it, it sounds almost too simple to be true, doesn't it? Yet, this tiny, effortless trick possesses the incredible power to completely bypass the old, rusty mental habits that keep millions of brilliant students stuck in a state of speech paralysis for years and years. When a student walks around his living space, he can consciously look at a window, a sturdy chair, or a simple silver spoon, and instantly think the words window, chair, or spoon without any hesitation. This simple exercise builds an incredibly solid, unbreakable bridge between the physical universe and its real, true meaning in English, creating an efficient mental highway. To make this initial level highly practical and fun, an individual can grab a pack of bright neon sticky notes and place them strategically around his bedroom or office space. Placing a vibrant pink note that says mirror right on the bathroom glass forces the brain to capture the written word and the physical object at the exact same fraction of a second. Over time, as he brushes his teeth every morning, the annoying, subconscious habit of running back to a native word just fades away naturally like morning mist. It is an easy, cost-effective strategy that turns a boring room into a highly interactive, 3D language learning environment that works around the clock. Soon enough, after a few days of consistent practice, it is time to step up the game to level 2, which involves dynamically narrating one's day from morning until night. This is the exact sweet spot where a person smoothly transitions from merely naming static single words to describing full, beautiful actions either silently in his mind or out loud to an empty room. The student's mind essentially becomes like an energetic, passionate sports commentator on the radio, describing every single little move of his own daily routine with enthusiasm. This keeps the language alive, relevant, and constantly moving forward through time. For example, while stepping into the kitchen to prepare a fresh breakfast, a student can easily think to himself, "I am making coffee now," or "I need to grab my shiny keys before I walk out the door." There is absolutely no space or time allowed for toxic, soul-crushing perfectionism here because there is no audience listening to the commentary or waiting to judge the performance. It is just an incredibly friendly, private, and highly experimental game played between a person and his own rapidly growing mind. By removing the pressure of an audience, the words begin to flow much more freely and joyfully. By practicing this simple narration method consistently day in and day out, a learner builds an incredible, unshakable mountain of inner confidence without experiencing a single ounce of added performance anxiety. The mind learns to react to real-world situations with lightning speed, agility, and absolute, effortless ease. This constant, vivid inner storytelling completely rewires the neural pathways of the brain, effectively preparing the person for the next logical step of the journey when unfamiliar words inevitably try to pop up and disrupt the flow. It builds the mental stamina required for deep conversational immersion. Of course, it is completely natural that every single language learner on this planet will eventually hit a wall where a specific, complex word is temporarily missing from his current vocabulary. This common obstacle brings the master blueprint directly to Phase B, which brilliantly deals with knowledge gaps through a clever, highly strategic tool known as the vocabulary bridge. The golden rule during this phase is incredibly strict but entirely life-changing for anyone who uses it. A person must absolutely stop translating unknown words into his native tongue the very second he gets stuck. It requires a firm commitment to intellectual independence. When an eager student encounters a mystery word while reading an interesting article or watching an entertaining show, the old, comfortable instinct is to immediately search for a quick bilingual dictionary fix. But oh, that is a highly dangerous, seductive trap that pulls the brain right back down into the depths of the agonizing translation loop. Instead of helping the mind discover true, independent meaning, that lazy shortcut just creates another clumsy customs checkpoint that completely slows down future speech and kills spontaneity. It tricks the student into thinking he learned something, when he actually just delayed his own progress. To fix this frustrating issue permanently and unlock true linguistic freedom, a smart, strategic learner builds what master mentors call the Cambridge Dictionary habit. This powerful technique involves looking up unfamiliar definitions exclusively in an English-to-English format, completely discarding bilingual resources. By reading the definition of a word using other simple English words, the brain is forced to stretch itself and understand brand new concepts purely through the power of context. It trains the mind to navigate the language from within, rather than looking at it from the outside. For instance, if a person is reading a book and encounters the word stubborn for the very first time, looking it up in a native dictionary is a massive mistake that ruins the immersion. Instead, finding a simple, beautifully clear English explanation like refusing to change your mind even when people advise you to completely changes the game. Suddenly, the learner understands the exact emotional flavor and conceptual meaning of the word perfectly without ever having to touch his native tongue. This deep understanding makes the word stay in his memory for a much longer period of time. A highly effective, practical action is to keep a dedicated, permanent tab open on a smartphone or computer specifically for the official Cambridge Dictionary website. Every single time a bizarre or mysterious new word pops up during a reading or listening session, the student can swiftly check the simple English definition and read through the multiple helpful example sentences provided. This practical routine embeds the new word deep within a rich, interconnected web of natural English associations, making it incredibly easy for the mind to pull that word out during a real conversation. This wonderful, rewarding habit teaches the human mind to tolerate a little bit of healthy uncertainty at first, which is exactly the organic method human children use when they are learning to speak their very first language. Think about it, toddlers don't carry heavy bilingual dictionaries around in their tiny pockets, they just observe the world, absorb the sounds, and react to the context around them. This simple, childlike shift turns vocabulary acquisition into an exciting, adventurous game of discovery rather than a boring, repetitive memorization chore that drains a person's energy. Once a person accumulates a critical mass of these beautiful, contextual building blocks, the natural human desire to share them with the outside world begins to grow stronger and stronger every single day. The internal monologue becomes so rich, vibrant, and packed with interesting ideas that it simply demands an external, practical outlet to test its strength. This beautiful internal pressure triggers an incredibly smooth, natural transition into controlled interactive practice, where a person can finally test his new wings in a safe, completely controlled environment. Phase C elegantly introduces a brilliant, cutting-edge way to practice communication called the text phase, a method perfectly tailored for the modern digital age. This is the exact milestone where a student boldly moves from quiet, isolated internal thoughts to real, tangible external linguistic output. Instead of jumping straight into terrifying, high-stakes live conversations with judgmental native speakers, a person can start by text chatting with an advanced AI tool like ChatGPT. This bridges the gap between thought and speech with absolute safety. Oh, what a truly wonderful, miraculous era it is to have an intelligent, highly responsive AI companion available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely free of charge. ChatGPT acts as a completely judgment-free texting partner that never gets tired, bored, or annoyed, always ready to chat about absolutely any topic under the sun. A learner can talk about his favorite retro video games, his daily fitness routines, or his biggest life dreams without ever feeling a single ounce of embarrassment or hesitation. It is the ultimate digital playground for language experimentation. This safe, private digital environment serves as the ultimate, definitive antidote to the paralyzing, toxic fear of making grammatical errors in front of other human beings. There is absolutely no real person sitting on the other side of the screen judging the user's sentence structure, pointing out minor typos, or laughing at a silly vocabulary mistake. The student can take all the sweet time he needs to carefully form his sentences, building his inner confidence brick by brick, word by word, in total peace. This eliminates the pressure and allows the mind to truly relax. Furthermore, a person can specifically instruct the artificial intelligence by typing an incredibly simple, highly effective prompt right at the beginning of the conversation. Please chat with me about my hobbies and gently correct my grammar on the fly. Every single time a small mistake happens, the AI instantly and kindly shows the correct, most natural way to express that specific idea. This immediate, friendly feedback loop is incredibly powerful for reshaping bad linguistic habits and replacing them with native-like accuracy before they become permanent. As the text conversation begins to flow back and forth smoothly over the digital wires, the student naturally starts using his core keywords like fluency, meaning, and trust in real, practical sentences. The human brain learns to assemble complex clauses rapidly without relying on a slow, old-fashioned translation process that completely ruins the natural rhythm of communication. It quickly starts to feel just like text messaging a close, supportive childhood friend who happens to know absolutely everything about the English language. For an incredibly practical and immersive scenario, a student can type a prompt like, "Let's pretend we are two old friends planning an exciting weekend trip to New York City." You start the conversation. This simple, highly engaging role-play scenario forces the brain to actively generate relevant travel vocabulary, ask spontaneous questions, and respond to unpredictable digital inputs. It is a highly dynamic exercise that keeps the mind completely engaged, sharp, and focused on practical utility rather than boring theory. Day after day, this consistent text practice makes natural sentence formation a complete second nature to the dedicated learner. The fingers begin to glide across the keyboard with incredible ease, and the thoughts flow from the mind to the screen much faster than ever before in the person's life. Naturally, as the fear of writing disappears, the mind becomes deeply hungry for a bigger, more realistic challenge, opening the golden door wide to the final, most exciting phase of the entire master blueprint. This brings the incredible journey straight to Phase D, famously known among top language coaches as the voice phase, which simulates real-world fluency with jaw-dropping accuracy. This is the ultimate, definitive test where a person courageously switches from typing text to utilizing ChatGPT's advanced voice mode feature. It is a groundbreaking, revolutionary technological tool that completely changes the rules of the game, allowing a student to practice real-time speaking from the comfort of his own couch. When a person activates this voice mode, there is absolutely no time left to type out ideas, edit paragraphs, or read words off a glowing digital screen. A person must actively listen to the spoken English streaming into his ears, process the conceptual meaning instantly in real time, and speak back into the microphone without pausing. This high-speed interaction forces spontaneous thought production, which permanently shatters the old, restrictive translation loop that keeps so many people silent. It demands immediate, instinctive action. Because the advanced AI speaks at a completely natural, continuous, and unyielding human rhythm, the human brain simply cannot afford to pause for a clumsy, slow translation. The mind is forced by circumstances to completely drop its heavy, exhausting armor of perfectionism and simply react instinctively to the incoming audio cues. It is an intense, highly stimulating, and incredibly thrilling mental workout that forces the speech centers of the brain to fire on all cylinders simultaneously. This wonderful, innovative tool perfectly simulates all the real-world pressure of a fast-paced conversation with a native speaker, but without carrying any of the terrifying social anxiety or fear of embarrassment. If a person mispronounces a complex word or gets completely stuck mid-sentence, he can just laugh it off, take a deep breath, and try again without any worry. The AI will patiently wait for him to finish his thought, offering an empathetic ear and a supportive, highly intelligent response every single time without exception. During these interactive voice sessions, a clever, observant student will notice how native-like expressions, smooth conversational fillers, and beautiful connected speech patterns naturally start to rub off on his own accent. The human ear captures the natural melody and flow of the language, and the mouth automatically begins to copy those smooth, blended sounds effortlessly. It is a beautiful, almost subconscious dance of vocal mimicry that boosts oral production and pronunciation without requiring boring phonetic exercises. To apply this amazing technological breakthrough right away tonight, a person can commit to starting a simple 5-minute voice session every single evening right before going to sleep. A fantastic, highly practical topic to propose to the AI is, let's review my entire day together in detail and discuss one valuable lesson I learned. This simple, cozy habit beautifully combines daily narration with interactive vocal practice, locking in the progress of the entire day and programming the mind to process English while it rests. As the days steadily turn into weeks and the weeks turn into months, the student notices a profound, undeniably beautiful transformation taking place within his overall level of confidence. The old, paralyzing fear of speaking up simply evaporates into thin air, replaced by a deep, bubbling sense of pure excitement to communicate. The mouth moves naturally, the vocal cords relax, the brain thinks directly in the target language, and true conversational mastery finally feels like an achievable reality rather than an impossible dream. Every single step of this magnificent blueprint works in perfect harmony to utterly destroy the old, restrictive mental traps that keep brilliant people silent for decades. By moving systematically from simple physical labels to high-speed, real-time voice interactions, a person completely reclaims his linguistic freedom and power. However, building the perfect daily routine and mastering the practical techniques is only half the battle, because discovering how to permanently lock in the ultimate psychological mindset shift is what truly seals a person's linguistic destiny forever. Every master was once a beginner who simply refused to let the paralyzing fear of making mistakes stop their progress. When a young child learns to communicate, that beautiful mind never relies on a slow translation loop. It simply absorbs, adapts, and learns to react organically to its environment. It is entirely normal for a student to feel a bit uncomfortable during the first few days of this shift, but shedding the heavy armor of perfectionism is the only way to unlock true, effortless confidence. To achieve authentic fluency, an individual must fully embrace their English-speaking persona and believe that their brain has the absolute right to think like a native speaker. Now, an immediate 24-hour challenge awaits the dedicated learner. For the next 2 hours, a person should look at the physical objects in their immediate surroundings and name them strictly in English, anchoring the pure meaning without shortcuts. To solidify this commitment to action, the viewer is warmly invited to leave a comment with the powerful manifesto, "I will stop translating and start reacting in English." For those ready to step into a total linguistic transformation, subscribing to the Native Flow channel will provide the ultimate map for the journey ahead. Keep striving for greatness, believe in the process, and see you in the next class.